Hey guys, it's Fred. I'm downstairs in the shooting range. This video, which you probably won't even know it, Sheila will probably divide it up into different things the way I'm doing it by myself. Sheila's working on something else. I found some old shotgun rounds, number 4 shot, a slug, number 6 shot. I was looking for some double aught. I don't know where they're at. I usually keep double aught in the gun. I'm going to shoot, guys. I'm going to try something here. That newspaper article said that one newspaper article said that Pauline was shot with a shotgun. Now, if you're driving down the road, and they pull up beside of them, and either from the rear or from the side, they shoot a shotgun, and we will compare to that back window glass. You'll see where it's broke out. And it may not even turn out like that. This may be for naught. This experiment may be for nothing. I'm going to try to see what kind of pattern we get. Let's say those cars are side by side right here. What kind of pattern we get. Now, if she was shot back here in the head, this is the part of her head that's gone, her skull, then he would have been on an angle. They would have been coming up. He wouldn't have been completely beside of her like I'm going to shoot. I don't really want to shoot at an angle. My backstop is directly back. So what I'm looking for here is to see how big the pattern is from this distance and compare it to that big windshield. May be completely off. Who knows? The first one I'm going to try is a 12 gauge number 4 shot. And let's see what happens. That is a number 4 shot. See, from that distance, you're not going to see a whole lot of spread. But you would see a whole lot of damage to a human head. Come out as a rhyme. It wasn't planned as that. But that's just a number 4 shot. That's not a slug. A slug, I'm not even going to shoot a slug because a slug is not much smaller than that number 4 shot from that distance. Now, the autopsy said they found fragments. Did they find fragments of shotgun pellets or fragments of a .30 caliber rifle? We don't know. They haven't released the report yet. So we don't know. That will be something good to know. You would have thought they would have released the report when they released a news conference everybody had, where they could say what they want and not have nothing there for anybody to compare it to or back it up. That's an interesting shot right there. And I have a feeling that either double aught, number 4. See, from this distance, no matter what I shoot here, no matter what shot I shoot, let me do a number 6 shot down below. This will be just a bird shot. This is a number 6. That last one I had was a number 4. This is going to be a number 6 bird shot. And I'm going to shoot down below that one so we can see. But let's say from this distance, a little bit bigger than the number 4. The spread is about the same. The only thing is, a number 6, the pellets are bigger. You got fewer pellets, but they're bigger. They're larger. But the spread itself about the size of a half a dollar. So from that distance, from car to car, driving by, and they wouldn't be no further away than that because it would be too far. They'd be off the road. They would be probably even closer than that. The closer they were together, the smaller the spread would be. Because the farther, with a shotgun, the farther you get back, the more of a spread you got, no matter what shot. If you're shooting number 4 shot, number 6 shot, 7, 9, double-aught buck. Double-aught buck, from that distance, you've got 9 32 or 38 caliber pellets. It's about the size that they are. You've got 9 bullets. Here's there's a 38 caliber bullet. Now, I'm thinking that a double-aught buck is just a little bit smaller than a 38, maybe like a 32 caliber. Imagine 9 of them hitting you in the back of the head if they had double-aught buck. If they had a shotgun. Now, a 30 caliber high velocity round will do some damage in and of itself. We know that. On that autopsy report, it said that the trajectory was going from back to front, at least on that one. At least on one. Now, it made some other remarks that trajectory couldn't be determined. So much of the skull was gone, and it could have came from multiple shots. The autopsy was useless. The autopsy was so vague with so much of the, not because of the pathologist, I'm not saying that, I'm saying because there was so much damage to the skull. So much of it was missing that the examiner didn't have a whole lot to go by, it don't sound like. Said there was an 8-inch wound over here, and then starts describing the different plates, the different parts of the skull that were missing. If they wasn't missing, they were heavily fractured. And I'm just wondering, I don't know where they got that story from in that newspaper. That was the next day newspaper, I believe it was, that said they had 30 calibers and they had shotguns. If they had a shotgun from that distance, and I would venture to say that they did. A shotgun is just one of the most devastating weapons. I don't care. I hear these people on these school shootings. I hear these people on assault rifles and on different things. That, I'm going to see if I can move this camera without my camera falling off. I'm going to back up here with a number 4 shot. I'm going to back way back here. You won't be able to see me, but I want to show you what a number 4 shot will do from any kind of a distance. Now, I'm not going to go back but about 8 or 10 feet, but you're going to see the difference. Imagine there's 10 or 12 people standing there. If there's 10 or 12 people standing there, I don't know if you all can see that or not. That is number 4 shot. That's like little BBs. Imagine hundreds of BBs, and the further back you are, the more they spread out. The more distance they travel, the wider it is, and the more devastating, or the more victims you've got. Does less damage. You may just put out an eye, ear, because you're getting shot with BB pellets, but you're getting peppered. And anybody around you is getting peppered. So where you might just from this range with a shotgun hit one person, or with a rifle, With a shotgun, you can stand back 15, 20, 50 feet, and you'll have a pattern the size of that target. By the time 50 feet got to that target, it would probably cover the entire width of that target. That's how far it would spread out. Same thing with double aught, different calibers. That's going to conclude this video. I don't know if I proved anything here or not. I think that those first shots and that windshield looked like, or that side window, rear side window, driver's side. I'll get Sheila to put a picture of it in here. That rear driver's side window with that hole in it, and with the damage that she's got to her head, I would venture to say very possibly could have been a shotgun. Very possibly from the damage, very possibly could have been a .30 caliber from one person, shotgun from another. Again, guys, you know, when you go back 58 years and try to investigate something, there's cases that are hard to investigate when it happens. No witnesses, no physical evidence, guns are gone. You know, for some reason, Mike Elam and this other fella, I don't remember his name, and for some reason, people thinks, and I see it on these posts, and they talk about, what about the blood splatter? What about the, guys, sometimes if you don't have the evidence to support your claim, you don't accuse somebody. If you're going to do something, if you're going to err on the side of humanity, err on the side of integrity and character. If you're going to err, if we have to take a guess, okay, what about the blood splatter on the hood? Whose was it? Was it Buford's? Was it hers? Was it? Nobody knows. And Buford and Pauline are dead. They didn't do a good investigation back then. We can see that. But you can't come up 58 years later and say, oh, we can do it now. You can't. You don't have the car. You don't have the blood splatter. You don't have the blood sample. I think more than likely Sheila and I do that. It was Buford Pusser's. In one scenario, they said he got out of the car. He went to the trunk going to get his rifle out and remembered he'd loaned his rifle to somebody. And he got back in the car and drove down the road. Did he get back in the car? Did he go back around the other way? Well, they said he went on and checked on Pauline. So if he went from the trunk of the car all the way over here, and he's over here on the passenger side checking on Pauline, and he decides, I've got to go, I've got to get her to the hospital, or he shuts the door, he takes off around the car, left side of his jaw's gone, left side of his cheek, the skin's hanging down. It's like an old St. Bernard dog throwing spit and slobber everywhere. It's the left front of the car there, the hood. He's running around. He's staying as close to the car as he can to hurry up and get her. You're taking the shortest distance. He would be right up against the car. This is my theory and Sheila's. This is not written in stone. But that's why we can't use it, because we don't know. We can say that. We can say that as much as Mike Elam and these guys say, oh, he must have shot her outside and blood splatter and then put her in the car. Look at the blood spill in that car. Look at the car seat. Look at the car door. Look at the amount of blood that she lost in that car. Sometimes a case, there's certain parts of a case when you're investigating something that you just got to say, I don't know. We don't know what happened. We don't know what the blood splatter's from. We don't know whose it was. We just don't know. But rather than guess that it was where he blew her brains out outside the car and then put her in the car, let's not speculate. We don't know. This is a man's character. His reputation we're talking about here. Do we waste it over a guess that it could have been this? It could have been little green man from the Mars. If you'll post on a certain site on the internet, you'll probably come up with all kinds of people that's got different. Don't make them right. Don't make you right. Don't make us right. Sometimes we just don't know. Pauline and Buford is dead. This case should have been investigated while Buford was alive. That's when I would have set him down, TBI. state police, ever who done the investigation. That's when they should have done this. You can't come up 58 years later and can't give a man a trial. Everybody's innocent till proven guilty. How are we going to prove him guilty? We don't even have his testimony. We don't even have what he would have said on the stand. Not what he said, or they said that he said in a statement. They said he said this. They said he said that. That's in a police report. That's a police report that police officers fill out. Do you have a tape recording? It would be nice if there's a tape recording of this, of Buford. If Buford's sitting on a tape recorder and he says all this stuff, then that's his statement. That's what we got to go by. If he changes that, then we got a problem. But short of having Buford Pusser on a tape stating this, all we know is that some police officer, whether they liked Buford or not. Now, police officers are a funny breed. It's like a bunch of cheerleaders. And they're jealous because one of them can do a better flip than the other one. One of them can scream louder. One of them's got better pom-poms. Police officers are like that. Police officers are egotistical. They want their investigation to be better than anybody else's. They want to figure out things that nobody else can figure out. They want to, and if somebody else cleans up a neighborhood when they didn't clean it up or couldn't or wouldn't clean it up, there might be some jealousy there. There might be some jealousy in the agencies. What's Buford Pusser, the sheriff down here on the county line? What's he doing down here cleaning this up? That's state police jurisdiction. That's TBI's jurisdiction. He shouldn't be out here in our county, in our part of the... I'm just talking. But if somebody wrote that statement up, another police officer or investigator, how do we know it was written up verbatim from what Buford Pusser said? We don't know that, and we will never know that short of having a taped transcript. That I would want to hear the tape. I don't want to see the transcript. I want to hear his voice and him say it. And then if he changes his story off and on, then we would have a problem. But no matter what is wrote in that statement, if he went to trial with this, and there was a trial back then he could sit on the stand and say, Your Honor, I didn't say that. Jury, I didn't say that. That's what the officer wrote down. What I said was, and that's his day in court. And then the jury can rule accordingly. Buford don't have that option. He's dead. Dead men don't talk. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying or not. I hope you do. I hope I'm making some sense. Just don't feel it was done right, guys. I think people wanted some fame and fortune. I seen last night on a guy's YouTube, this Mike Elam's friend, they're friends together. They investigate. He also says he's in law enforcement. He was in the Navy, and he done this and he done that. You know what he done? He got a video out and he said, here's my book. I've got this book for sale. They've just announced this 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, they just announced that Buford murdered Pauline. He's wrote a book in 2 weeks, or he's had it written and just waiting. He's gave a copy of it to TBI or to Mr. Davison, and they fit their story to his book, or to his claim, or to his rumors, his and Mike's, Mike Elam. Guys, it's 2025. We've got tapes of those deputies where they were talking about killing when Buford had to shoot Louise Hathcock. They're talking in their testimony. The witnesses that were there, the deputies that were there, are talking on tape as to what happened. They tell one thing, 2025, 50-some years later, Mike Elam tells another on his bus tour and on his podcast. And more people believe Mike Elam, who wasn't, he's probably born, he's probably like me, a little kid then, more than they would the people that were there on the scene and were taped. We got a problem, guys, when we do that. We've got an issue. This man should have been given his day in court way back. If they wanted to charge him, if he done something wrong, bring it up and charge him then and convict him. I'm not taking up for this guy. If he done what they're alleging he done, but it's a legend now. It's been alleged. It's not even been alleged. They're saying he done it, but they're saying it's without proof. They're saying they could have indicted him. An indictment don't count. Could they have convicted him with a jury? I don't believe they could. You can't convict people with more likely than not. You can't convict people with, well, I believe this happened. You can't convict people with, there's a possibility that that's not what convicts people. Evidence, overwhelming evidence. Without a reasonable doubt. Guilty. Without a reasonable doubt. Preponderance of the evidence. Thanks for joining me, guys. Sorry it took so long. I had this on my mind, and I just wanted to, if she was shot with a shotgun from that distance, that would account for the back window being cut out. That would account for the amount of damage to her head, for sure, let alone a high velocity 30 caliber M1 rifle. Thanks. Catch you next time.